Wow. How many times have you guys requested this one? A picture comparison between Robby Robinson, the legendary bodybuilder from the 60s, 70s, things of that nature, and Chris Bumstead, your current men's classic physique division champion, Olympia champion. And of course, guys, they have weight limits, weight restrictions, the current competitors in men's classic physique. But back in the day, they were limited on what they could use, things of that nature. So, they could only get so big that way. But anyway, guys, I'm going to try to make this as fair as possible. And, I could obviously rig this up to make Robby Robinson look so good, which he does. I mean, look at that big man's manly chest on this dude. And if you are familiar with my channel, Robby Robinson was my very first video I ever made. He's my favorite bodybuilder of all time. But like I said, guys, I gotta keep this fair. I'm not gonna rig it. After all, Robby Robinson, this guy is the epitome of a classic physique, so you really don't have to tweak this at all. And furthermore, Chris Bumstead may be a weak point in the biceps, triceps. Robby Robinson, maybe the best biceps of all time. Not speaking loose, guys. Let's go through the mandatory shots, at least the ones we do have. You'll notice I made Robby probably taller than he is because he's standing straight-legged. They did that back in the day. Very classical way of standing. And Bumstead obviously bends at the knees. Just a fake Newton. Not the clearest shots in town for Robby, unfortunately, but you can really gauge that V-taper. Here's one from a little bit later, I think, but obviously tilted dousely. Maybe his prime right here. Now here's a little bit later. Hey, it's Robby Robinson. I like to show a few different pictures, different versions. This is actually when he was a little bit older. And you could see his guns. They're just as big, maybe even bigger. And because he's my favorite, this is him, maybe 48 years old. He's almost 50 years old here, guys. He did compete when he was 50. He looked just like this. So, I mean, the guy is incredible. Considering he has the much bigger arms, not as big in the wheels. To me, that's a classic physique. But anyway, go through the shots. And if you know what I'm saying, guys, the upper bodies, I think that's more classical to have a bigger upper body. And so you could, if they're on weight limits, take some slap off some clay off the legs and slap it on some upper body mass. But Bumstead, guys, truly is remarkable in the front lat spread. Robby Robinson, if you've never seen this guy, his repertoire of poses before, he had a awesome physique. Look at this. He's holding his own against Bumstead in the front lat spread, beating him in the front double, in my opinion. Wow. Side chest. Robby had no weak poses. And you guys wonder why he's my favorite? Well, it's not because of his physique. Just because he's a real cool dude. And I don't want to hear anything about, oh, Robby, do you hear what he says nowadays on the internet? Listen, if you gone through what he did back in the day, I mean, I'm sure you'd be a bitter old man too. So unless you've lived the life, don't be pointing your finger and criticizing. This guy has one of the biggest man's chests I've ever seen. But this here is maybe a more suitable picture. You can see I threw another picture of Robby's legs on the bottom there, just to complete the picture. You complete me. Tom Cruise? Jerry Maguire? Anyway. Look at that, guys. Look at the arm of Robby. Like I said, maybe the best biceps, triceps, complete arms bodybuilding history. Not speaking loose, guys. Put him against Arnold. You'll see. And when it comes to back development, Robby Robinson was so complete. Keep in mind, guys, I'm sure some of you are thinking, but Mark's max muscle. Robby is only 5'8". Well, he's standing straight-legged. Bumstead bends at the knees, and he leans back. And Robby's standing pretty straight. I think this is how they would size up against each other. Robby with unbelievable condition. And the hamstrings? Are you kidding me? Keep in mind, they didn't want to see the glutes. They didn't train to get the glutes. They didn't flex the glutes. So we can write that off. Everything else looks pretty darn good for Robby. What a wingspan. The rear double, I think Bumstead looks better. And I'm not just dissing my homeboy, because, Bumstead's Canadian, so he's my homie. But still, Robby's my homie, too. I mean, this guy, I've been watching this guy since 1987, for goodness sakes. I would have been watching him before that, but I was only, just a child. But started watching, bodybuilding through pumping iron. Wow. Here's a different one of Robby. This is an on-stage one. The other one was a photo shoot. What a rear double. But taking nothing away from Bum, he has an outstanding rear double by. The abs and thigh. That rhymes. Robby, this looked good, right? This is a pretty good pose. Not bad at all, right? Probably his worst pose, if you can imagine that. And I can't, because all of his poses were good. I don't think that Robby had a weak shot, but considering, Bumstead might actually be beating him in this one, I guess it could be a weaker shot. Anyway, guys, this was obviously just for fun, and I oftentimes say you can't make a serious, educated decision on this, because nowadays, guys, they're going to have thinner skin, they're going to have things of that nature, they have advantages, but of course, weight caps, things of that nature, obviously are gonna hurt Bumstead as far as size. But it's not size, it's shape, it's quality. And Robby Robinson, when you compare arms, now that is what I want to see for a men's classic physique division champion. I honestly think, guys, and this is a nice shot to finish this one off, not just kissing up or sucking up to Robby Robinson, because he's my favorite, but I honestly think that he has Chris Bumstead's number. He has it in a lot of the shots, and you can excuse the glutes, like I said, conditioning. Aside from that, Robby's right there with him in conditioning. The muscles, separation, and it's boys against men. I'm sure Bumstead would admit, yeah, sure, Robby's got a much better physique than I do, he'd probably tell you. Well, I don't know what I'm going to say physique. Bumstead's physique's good, but I just like the bigger arms, maybe slightly smaller in the legs. Of course, can't tell that here. But man, oh man, Robby Robinson, the guy was incredible. Bumstead is too. I just prefer Robby Robinson's physique, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. Anyway, hit thumbs up on the video. It's a nice little matchup between guys from the 60s, 70s, even the 80s against classic physique division competitors. Hit thumbs up, subscribe. Have a nice one.